Albert Einstein.
Albert Einstein was a German-born physicist and mathematician who was widely recognized as one of the most important and influential scientists of the 20th century. He was born on March 14, 1879, in the city of Ulm, in the Kingdom of Württemberg, which is now part of Germany.
Einstein grew up in a middle-class Jewish family, and his parents were both musicians.
As a child, he was fascinated by science and technology, and he was especially interested in the workings of machines and mechanical devices. However, he struggled with the strict discipline of his early schooling, which he later described as a drill in the manipulation of symbols. In 1894, when Einstein was 15 years old, his family moved to Italy, where he completed his secondary education. He then applied to the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich, but he failed the entrance exam. He spent the next year studying at a Swiss school and then retook the exam, passing it on his second attempt. In 1896, he was admitted to the institute, where he studied mathematics and physics. After graduating in 1900, Einstein took a job as a technical assistant in the Swiss Patent Office in Bern, where he worked for several years. During this time, he continued to work on his own scientific research, and in 1905, he published a series of papers that would come to be known as his Annus Mirabilis, or Miracle Year. These papers included his theory of special relativity, which fundamentally changed the way physicists understood space and time, as well as his famous equation, E equals mc squared, which demonstrated the relationship between mass and energy. Einstein's work made him famous, and he began to receive invitations to speak and lecture at scientific conferences and universities around the world. In 1914, he moved to Berlin to take a position at the Prussian Academy of Sciences, and he became a German citizen. During World War I, Einstein's pacifist beliefs in opposition to the war put him at odds with many of his colleagues and with the German government. He became involved in political activism, speaking out against militarism and nationalism, and advocating for the creation of a world government. After the war, he continued to be politically active, and he was a vocal supporter of the Zionist movement, which sought to establish a Jewish homeland in Palestine. In 1933, when the Nazi Party came to power in Germany, Einstein was in the United States on a lecture tour. He decided not to return to Germany, and he renounced his German citizenship. He took a position at the Institute for Advanced Study in Princeton, New Jersey, where he lived for the rest of his life. During World War II, Einstein was deeply concerned about the development of atomic weapons, and he urged the United States government to develop them first, in order to prevent the Nazis from obtaining them. However, after the war, he became an advocate for disarmament and peace, and he spoke out against the nuclear arms race. Einstein continued to work on scientific research throughout his life, and he made significant contributions to the development of quantum mechanics and the theory of general relativity. He also became a cultural icon, known for his wild hair, eccentric behavior, and outspoken opinions on a wide range of issues.
Einstein died on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76.
His work and his ideas have had a profound and lasting impact on our understanding of the universe, and he is widely regarded as one of the greatest minds in human history. Despite his well-known genius, Einstein struggled in school as a child. He did not learn to speak until he was 3 years old, and he had a tendency to daydream in class. This led some of his teachers to think he was not very bright, and he was even expelled from one school for his rebellious behavior. However, his parents recognized his potential and encouraged his interest in science and mathematics. In addition to his groundbreaking work in physics, Einstein was also an accomplished musician. He began playing the violin at a young age, and he continued to play throughout his life. He often said that music helped him to think and that it was a source of great joy for him.
Einstein was a strong believer in the power of imagination and creativity. He once said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge."
For knowledge is limited, whereas imagination embraces the entire world, stimulating progress, giving birth to evolution. He believed that scientific breakthroughs came not just from hard work and analysis, but from the ability to imagine new possibilities.
Einstein was married twice.
His first marriage was to a fellow physics student named Mileva Marek, whom he met at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology. They had 2 sons together, but the marriage was unhappy and eventually ended in divorce. Einstein later married his cousin, Elsa Einstein, who helped to take care of him in his later years.
In addition to his scientific work, Einstein was also an outspoken political activist.
He was a strong advocate for pacifism and world government, and he spoke out against war and nationalism.
He was particularly concerned about the rise of fascism in Europe and the persecution of Jews. Einstein was known for his unconventional personal style. He often wore baggy clothes and refused to wear socks, and his unruly hair became one of his trademarks.
He was also a bit absent-minded and forgetful, which sometimes led to humorous situations. For example, he once lost his passport on a trip to Japan and had to be rescued by the German embassy.
Einstein's fame made him a target for both adulation and criticism.
Some people saw him as a visionary and a hero, while others saw him as a threat to traditional values and beliefs. He received numerous awards and honors during his lifetime, including the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1921, but he also faced opposition and hostility from some quarters.
Despite his international renown, Einstein remained humble and approachable.
He was known for his kindness and generosity, and he often took time to talk to students and young scientists. He believed that science was a collaborative endeavor and that everyone had a role to play in advancing knowledge and understanding. When Einstein was working at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern, he wrote many of his most important scientific papers during his spare time. This includes his groundbreaking 1905 paper on the special theory of relativity, which he wrote in his spare time over the course of several months. Einstein was also interested in philosophy, and he often integrated philosophical concepts into his scientific work. For example, his theory of relativity was heavily influenced by the philosophical ideas of Immanuel Kant and Ernst Mach. Einstein's work on the photoelectric effect, which earned him the Nobel Prize in Physics, was also instrumental in the development of quantum mechanics. This work helped to establish the idea that light could be thought of as both waves and particles, which was a major breakthrough in the understanding of the nature of light. Despite being a pacifist, Einstein was instrumental in urging the United States to develop the atomic bomb during World War II. He feared that Nazi Germany would develop the bomb first, and he believed that the only way to ensure that it did not fall into the wrong hands was for the United States to develop it first.
Einstein was a prolific writer and correspondent, and he wrote thousands of letters over the course of his lifetime.
Many of these letters are preserved and have been published, and they offer a glimpse into Einstein's personal life and his thoughts on a wide range of topics.
In addition to his work on physics, Einstein was also interested in the philosophy of science and the nature of scientific inquiry. He believed that science was not just a set of facts or theories, but a way of thinking about the world that emphasized curiosity, skepticism, and imagination. Einstein was a supporter of civil rights and racial equality, and he spoke out against racism and segregation. He was an active member of the NAACP, and he spoke at their annual convention in 1946. He was also a supporter of Zionism and the creation of a Jewish homeland in Palestine. In his later years, Einstein became increasingly isolated from the scientific community, as he refused to accept the emerging theories of quantum mechanics. He spent much of his time working on a unified theory of physics, which he believed would unite all the fundamental forces of nature into a single, coherent framework. However, he was never able to complete this work before his death in 1955. Einstein was a gifted student of mathematics and physics, and he entered the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich at the age of 16. However, he did not graduate from the institute until he was 21, after he took a year off to travel and spend time with his family. Einstein was offered a teaching position at the University of Bern in 1908, but he turned it down because he did not want to take on the administrative responsibilities that came with the job. Instead, he took a job as a lecturer at the University of Bern and continued to work at the patent office. Einstein's work on general relativity, which he developed between 1907 and 1915, was a major achievement in the history of physics. This theory expanded upon his earlier work on special relativity and provided a framework for understanding the effects of gravity and the curvature of spacetime. Despite his groundbreaking work in physics, Einstein was not awarded a professorship until 1911, when he was offered a position at the German University of Prague. He then moved on to a professorship at the Swiss Federal Institute of Technology in Zurich in 1912,
and finally to a professorship at the University of Berlin in 1914.
Einstein's first wife, Neleva Marek, was also a physicist and mathematician, and they worked together on some of Einstein's early scientific papers.
However, their marriage was troubled, and they divorced in 1919. After the divorce, Einstein agreed to give Marek the prize money from the Nobel Prize he won in 1921. Einstein was a strong supporter of the League of Nations, which was established after World War I as an international organization dedicated to promoting peace and cooperation among nations. He believed that the League had the potential to prevent future wars and to establish a more just and equitable world order.
In addition to his work on physics, Einstein also made significant contributions to the development of the refrigeration industry.
In the 1920s, he worked with a group of scientists to develop a new type of refrigerator that used no moving parts and was much more efficient than existing designs.
Einstein was a gifted speaker and lecturer, and he often gave public talks and interviews on a wide range of topics.
He was particularly well known for his ability to explain complex scientific concepts in a way that was accessible and engaging to non-experts. In his later years, Einstein became increasingly interested in the concept of a cosmic religion, which would unite all people in a shared sense of awe and wonder at the mysteries of the universe. He believed that this kind of religion was necessary to counteract the growing sense of nihilism and despair in the modern world.
Einstein died on April 18, 1955, at the age of 76.
His brain was removed during an autopsy and studied by scientists, who hoped to find clues to the source of his genius. However, the results of these studies have been inconclusive, and the question of what made Einstein such a brilliant scientist remains a mystery. Einstein was a pacifist and strongly opposed the use of nuclear weapons. In 1939, he wrote a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt warning him of the potential military applications of nuclear fission and urging him to support research into nuclear energy for peaceful purposes.
Einstein was also an advocate for civil rights and social justice.
He was a member of the NAACP and spoke out against segregation and racism in the United States. He was particularly vocal in his support for the Scottsboro Boys, a group of 9 black men who were falsely accused of raping 2 white women in Alabama in 1931. In 1940, Einstein became a United States citizen, and he settled in Princeton, New Jersey, where he became a professor at the Institute for Advanced Study. He remained at the institute for the rest of his life, and he continued to work on physics and other scientific topics. Despite his fame and success as a scientist, Einstein was known for his humility and his willingness to engage with people from all walks of life. He was a regular at local coffee shops in Princeton, and he enjoyed chatting with the people he met there.
Einstein was a talented musician and played the violin throughout his life.
He was particularly fond of the music of Mozart, and he believed that his work in physics was inspired by the beauty and harmony of the universe.
In addition to his work on relativity and quantum mechanics, Einstein also made significant contributions to the field of cosmology.
He proposed that the universe was expanding, and he developed a model of the universe that was consistent with this idea. Einstein's work on the theory of special relativity also had important implications for our understanding of time. He showed that time was not absolute but was instead relative to the observer, and he demonstrated that time could be affected by gravity and the speed at which an object was moving. Einstein was also an accomplished writer and wrote a number of popular science books and essays, including The World as I See It and Out of My Later Years. In these works, he explored a wide range of topics, from his personal philosophy to his views on politics and religion. Einstein's legacy as a scientist and thinker has been the subject of much debate and interpretation. Some have portrayed him as a heroic figure who revolutionized our understanding of the universe, while others have criticized him for his political views or his personal life. However, there is no doubt that his work had a profound impact on the course of scientific and intellectual history in the 20th century. In conclusion, Albert Einstein was one of the most influential scientists of the 20th century, known for his groundbreaking contributions to physics and his impact on our understanding of the universe.
He was a remarkable figure who combined scientific brilliance with a deep curiosity about the world around him.
Despite his many achievements, he was also a humble and compassionate person who was passionate about social justice and civil rights.
Today, his legacy continues to inspire scientists, thinkers, and people around the world, and his ideas and insights continue to shape our understanding of the universe and our place in it. Thank you for watching. If you would like to obtain the documents that contain the texts we use in the videos, please help us with a subscription on our Patreon page. You will also help us to continue making more videos. Learning personal development will give you peace and well-being in your life. Please subscribe and give it a like if you liked it. Don't forget to check the video description to find more information that may interest you. Learn English with personal development. Goodbye.